Hey everybody, this is Corey with Thrive Integrated Rehabilitation and Wellness. Today I want to talk about a couple topics that are discussed a lot across just our society in general, but especially the just health and wellness space, but are often talked about kind of missing some important key points. And so those topics are inflammation and oxidation, or anti-inflammatories and antioxidants. So we tend to really reductively treat oxidation and inflammation as inherently bad things, which for most of us, most of the time they are. We're talking about chronic inflammation and really high, say, oxidative load can increase your chances of almost every disease from Alzheimer's to cancer to heart disease, diabetes, etc., and make you age faster and just have a poor quality of life. But the thing is that those are chronic situations of inflammation and oxidation. Your body naturally deals with inflammation and oxidation in a regular, normal context. And so if someone's talking about chronic inflammation or oxidation, it's like they're poisons, and we have to figure out why that stuff is going on instead of just heaping antidote at someone and go, oh, it looks like you've been poisoned, here, take this, and not look into why it's going on and make sure it doesn't happen again. And so when we're looking at that, we're looking at really refined and processed foods, so sugar almost uniformly, refined grains, wheat, breads, cakes, stuff like that, donuts, bagels, whole range of stuff that should be kept pretty limited. And then the American standard of taking a really refined, high glycemic carb like a potato and introducing it to a lot of really bad quality fat, like in French fries. French fries are incredibly apocalyptically bad for us, especially in an inflammatory fashion. So if someone is keeping up a really bad standard American diet, SAD, as we've come to call it, then they're going to have chronic inflammation, and no amount of anti-inflammatories is going to be able to knock that down. It's just too big of a load. So that's not really the side I wanted to talk about today, but I just wanted to point out that most of when people are talking about inflammation and oxidation, it's more that. There's chronic amounts that is bad and needs to be dealt with, but the answer isn't really to go, well, I'm going to take my turmeric curcumin pepper pills tonight. It's a figure out what's causing these problems, work on it, and then take some stuff on top of it to help, but just approach it a little bit more directly and intentionally. The other side that needs to be pointed out is there's acute inflammation and acute oxidation. And so there is the most obvious example of these is, say, oh, I just rolled my ankle and I tore a ligament, or I have whiplash and I tore the ligaments in my neck, or I've broken a bone, something like that. Inflammation is a really normal response where you have swelling, something gets big, it gets red, puffy, warm, and that happens because it's upping the warmth to up the blood flow, get a whole bunch of fluid and nutrients in, to help your body get waste and damaged tissue out and get supplies in and materials to basically repair that area. And so lab studies have found that, especially when anti-inflammatories are taken the first 72 hours of a tissue repair like a ligament, it's something like, and I may be wrong here, but this is ballpark accurate anyway, I'd have to check the study, just sitting over there somewhere, that we have like 64% or so reduction in strength permanently of those tissues which weren't allowed to have a normal inflammatory response. So basically someone twists their ankle badly, gets a tear, even if it's minor, not the whole ligament is going to lose that 64%, but the damaged tissue that gets replaced and repaired, we're looking at a permanent decrease of how strong that tissue is. That's not good. It's not helpful. And so we want to make sure in these acute situations of inflammation not to get in the way. We used to teach the acronym ICE, where you were actually using ice, compression, elevation, basically stuff that stops blood flow. And this was like a misunderstanding that was taken and taught everywhere when we found, well, if someone loses a limb or has severe bleeding, severe injury, we might need to stop that so that it doesn't bleed out, so it lowers cellular metabolism so that we could reattach your thumb or something like that. But when it's you just got whiplash or tore up your ankle a bit, it's not a helpful thing. We want to get repair going. And so we've changed the acronym, and I'm not going to go into that too much detail in this video, but the point is that it's not automatically a good thing to get rid of inflammation. And so on the injury side, it's pretty obvious. At least, I mean, once someone tells you, oh, we don't actually want to do that. Inflammation doesn't actually cause tissue damage. We need it to repair. You can have inflammation without healing. You can't have healing without inflammation. The side I really wanted to talk about today, though, was exercise. Trying to actually stress your body or even do micro damage like muscles from weightlifting and get these adaptations, this growth by stressing that tissue. There are inflammatory markers and oxidation that goes on because of exercise. And if you finish this heavy workout session and go, oh, well, this is either a healthy cocktail of nutrients and vitamins and stuff, or I'm going to take this mixture of stuff so I'm not sore tomorrow, you've just stopped the inflammatory and oxidative signalers that are telling your body not just to repair that tissue, but to grow and adapt and increase performance. And so you'll see a lot of people that will go in and do a really intense workout and then they go and take an ice bath. Or they're taking curcumin and turmeric that night, or maybe just their fish oil and vitamin E, which is great, but the timing messes up your progress. You might sit there and go, oh, I just worked really hard and that was a really good training session, but now I've just destroyed all my progress. Or at least, let's say, a substantial amount. I'm not going to say all, but it's just they're putting in the work and then they're countering it. And so the simple side of it is, instead of, say, an ice bath, do a massage, even if it's a self-massage, which is going to help blood flow, help fluid flow, help get things in and out, and not stop inflammation. It's also going to help you sleep better anyway. A warm shower would be nice. A cold shower, it has its place. There's really good stuff with cold exposure, but not for actually not just recovering from a workout, but to get the most benefits out of it. So instead what we do is, again, maximize blood flow instead of taking it away. So a warm shower, massage, not the ice bath, not compression, not elevating your limbs. Instead of anti-inflammatories and antioxidants, get a good nutrient-dense meal, and even if it has, say, some fruit and berries, some veggies and stuff that will have antioxidants, that's not as big of a deal as a super dose of curcumin and pepperin that will just knock out inflammation. The next morning, maybe that's when you want to start with stuff. You've had a good night's sleep where most of the repair is going to happen, where a lot of the adaptations are going to happen. So I'll start my day with my EGCG and green tea with some pepperin, so pepper, as well as fish oil and whatever else I'm going to take, because it's going to have less of a negative impact if I have it before that day's workout than afterwards. And the same goes for ibuprofen and stuff like that. There may be a time and place where it's really important. Maybe the inflammation for you is chronic, in which case turmeric and curcumin will help. But it's not going to help you get benefits out of exercise, it's going to counter them. Which even includes you have fibromyalgia and you're exercising, and that's going to help your body deal with some of the symptoms of fibro. I'd still more approach it this direction and just take the exercise slow to start. If you have an injury, talk to a healthcare practitioner first, but the short and simple is most of the time it's not going to be a good thing to cut out that inflammation when it's an acute, short time of inflammation or oxidation. Chronic, find your poison, go for an antidote, but get rid of the poison. Don't just keep taking the poison and take the antidote too. And with exercise, time it well. So that's our short rundown today. Inflammation in the chronic sense is bad. Having too much oxidation is bad, but it is a tool, it's a signal to help you adapt and actually grow and get better performance with exercise. And it has its important point when it comes to injuries. So we don't want to just do this blanket, screw it, let's douse the fire and just toss it on everything. We want to be more intelligent with the timing, especially because a lot of the supplements you're going to use are bloody expensive anyway, so you want to make sure they're used well and to your benefit. So I'm going to end that with the short disclaimer of, remember, I'm not a physician, I'm not your therapist, or at least, those who are watching and aren't my patients I'm not their therapist. Your situation might require something different than I'm talking about, so just use this as at your discretion. Make sure to talk to an appropriate practitioner if you think you should or have any doubt about it, and look into it more. Do your own research. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, there's going to be more videos like this, so Watch along, subscribe if you found it interesting, let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you next time.